Speedbird 232, right heading 235, and report localizer established runway 27 left, Speedbird 232.
So, hello everybody and welcome back to the second video of the FSLabs first flight that we are going to do. In here, we have talked about kind of overhead panel and did a couple of main explanation here and there featuring the aircraft systems. We are now basically ready to do an MCDU kind of initialization. So first of all, I'm gonna scoop in here to see the kind of paperwork that I have for the flight briefing here. So let's see here, option and fuel. We're taking 6.2, my bad, so 6,200 kilograms of fuel. Payload will be 59.3 and center of gravity is 27.3. We're going to talk about that later on. So next we'll go to initialization, and I'm going to explain more kind of things while we go in here. PFBX have that neat feature that we're going to use is to bring from PFBX to the aircraft, meaning that the aircraft kind of will assume that we have received our flight plan using the AOC feature kind of. So here, AOC active flight plan is uplink, that's good. So what we have done is put Lima Oscar Whiskey India to EDDF. Alternate is set. Flight number, coast index of 20. Cruising flight level is 240. Weights are 59.3. We need to adjust that fuel block to 6.2. Trip wind is already been given by PFBX of headwind of 13 knots. We can actually adjust that to our liking. So next is a flight plan is already been set. We're just waiting for the ailerons kind of to align to give us our location in 2 minutes. So that's good. Everything honestly is looking sweet in here. So let me see how's the weather is doing around here. So my bad. So ATSU AOC menu, received messages, and let's see here. So wind is variable at 1 knot, so we will be okay taking off from runway 26. We'll go to aircraft performance page. So flaps 2, and since we have the 0 fuel weight center of gravity is 27.5, so we'll have kind of 0.5 kind of up trim setting there, so 27.5, it's around there. So we can actually put that in here. It's just like a scratch pad. It's not actually doing anything with the aircraft there. So we can see here our route have been selected and shown. So next we are going to see our flex temp of, let me see here, of 51, my bad. So 51. Speeds are 134, 134, 139. transition altitude is 10,000 feet. Thrust reduction altitude will be 2,890 feet, which is almost 1,000 feet plus our current altitude there. So with that's been done, we have put our flight directors to on, which given us those solid kind of dots, meaning that the aircraft is controlling our speed and heading. So we'll go on the altitude there and dial our cruising altitude. I know we will be flying to a much lower cleared off altitude, but we're not using any ATC surface today. So 24,000 on the altitude window there. I'm gonna scoop in here for a little bit to actually tell you guys how the kind of the throttles work on the Airbuses. So this is the kind of reverse segment of the throttle quadrant. This is the kind of manual throttle movement. Then we have a climb detent, flex detent or maximum climb thrust, and toggle. So we're using a 51 degrees reduction in thrust today. So we will do it at flex. Then we're gonna, at 1,000 feet, we're gonna use the thrust reduction altitude at 1,000 to put the thrust levers to climb. We're gonna kind of see all of that happening while we are mid kind of flight. I just wanted to explain some more things that a lot of people don't know when it comes to the Airbus. So I'm not sure the initial request will do anything for us here. So yeah, no answer. So with that been done, I honestly think we are kind of ready to start our APU. So APU master switch on. Make sure our cabin pressure landing elevation is set to auto, otherwise the ECAM status page will give us a message there. So start APU. So APU is pulling up. We are almost on time there. I think we will be good. So the flight is not that long. It's less than 45 minutes. So that's good. %, on the APU there. So before start checklist, cockpit preparation is completed. Gear pins and covers will get that removed once our APU is good and running. Signs are on. ADIRS is to nav. APU is available. So I'm gonna go in here, disconnect the external kind of power there. APU bleed to on. Options, external controls. Disconnect the GPU, disconnect the ground chucks, and call for the pushback check. So prepare for pushback and departure. It's going to be a straight pushback, and we're gonna use the manual stop feature there. So fuel quantity 6.2 thousand kilograms. Takeoff data is set. Power reference is set. Windows and doors are closed. Beacon lights are on. Thrust levers are idle. Parking brake is set, and we are good to go in here. So it's a little bit foggy weather, but that will be okay. Still waiting for that. Ground handlers there.
Departure check completed. Flight has been inserted. Release parking brakes.
So, released parking brakes.
Push. All engines clear. Start at wheel.
So start at will. So engine mode selected to ignition and start. Slides are armed and start engine number 2. Just wanted to talk a little bit quickly here when it comes to the price of this bird. This is actually one of the kind of costly add-ons on the community now at $139 US. So it's not an easy purchase for who's kind of wondering if I should get it or not. It's $140, but I honestly think it's well worth the money. So I'm just looking here to make sure we are not way kind of pushed back in here. So that should be, so stop here and complete pushback procedures. Our engine number 2 is available. Set parking brake. So as I said, $140 is worth the money. Your mileage might vary considering if you are actually into the Airbuses or not. So how's this compared to the Airsoft aircraft? We'll start engine number 1. I know I have been asked that a lot lately, and I honestly tell you, it's way more sophisticated system depth and system wise. So the fly-by-wire system is really, really good. I mean, this is the only word to describe that system. It's perfect. The visuals are a little bit kind of lacking in some areas compared to the Airsoft A320, and there are an updated A320 coming from Airsoft hopefully by the end of this year or next year, so we have to see how that goes. But visually the Airsoft aircraft is a little bit more appealing, but when it comes to system wise and kind of the fluidity of flying the bird, I have to give it FSLabs A320 hands down, guys. So our both engines have started. We can take off the ABU bleed, and we have to wait for a few minutes before we are taking off the ABU switch, considering there is a time delay switch for the ABU bleed to prevent the ABU from shutting down immediately after we turn off the ABU bleed. So after start checklist, anti-ice is not needed for today's flight. ECAM status is checked. Thrust levers are at idle. Parking brake is required. I'm gonna go ahead to the ATC panel here. So on or auto, altitude reversing to on, TARA. I'm gonna do 5144. So weather radar system to 1, weather and turbulence, and predictive wind shear to auto. So mode selector, engine mode selector to norm. Everything looking good. Taxi light to on. And ABU master switch off. So when that's done, flight controls check. So full left, full right, full up, full down, full left, full right, and neutral. So I'm gonna kind of trim our aircraft a little bit more. Okay, so that is perfect. So 134 there at the rotation speed. That is all good. And we are ready to taxi. So park and brake is released. Clear in the right, clear in the left. Let's see here. So as usual, I do honestly love taking off from Isenburg. And it should be a fun approach to Frankfurt today, since it's a little bit cloudy there. So auto brake to max, signs are on, cabin will wait for the ready signal there. Spoilers are armed, flaps for takeoff too. So runway is clear. And we have the kind of runway entry light there.
Approaching 26.
So approaching 26, that is confirmed. As I said, we'll not take off without the cabin ready, and then theater there on the ECAM. So cabin is still not ready.
Approaching 26.
Hopefully anytime now.
On runway 26.
So on runway 26 there. Parking brake set. Let's see here. Gonna do a little bit of kind of fiddling here. Okay, so cabin is ready. Takeoff config switch there. Normal. So for takeoff, auto brake is max, signs are on, cabin ready, spoilers are armed, flaps set to takeoff. Takeoff config is norm, ACAM memo, all green, cabin crew. Cabin crew, please be seated for takeoff. Engine mode selectors as required, packs are on for our takeoff today. So park and brake released. Start the watch. And you'll notice how the thrust levers to flex temp. So Maniflex 51 SRS and auto thrust blue. That high base. So maintaining center line shouldn't be a problem today. 100 knots. So V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. So 500 feet. 1000 we're gonna power kinda thrust levers to climb, autopilot on. Terrain on display to watch out for those high kind of mountains and those foggy flight. So we're accelerating very nicely. So our first notch flaps are coming up. Second notch flaps are up. And here's that runway behind us. So flaps are coming up. Let's see if I can. It's almost in. So flaps are up after takeoff. Checklist landing gear is up. Flaps are retracted. Ground spoilers to disarmed. Packs are already on, and we'll wait for that 10,000 feet for the barometric pressure to be standard. So for the weather, I don't see any concerning weather. So back to the aircraft itself, honestly, the installation is a little bit not what we are used to. So it's a little bit different and tricky. So you have to install kind of two add-ons. One of them is the FS spotlights and the aircraft itself. It used to be more hectic than this. You have to install kind of a client and two additional files, but it's got kind of better over the years now. And I kind of stumbled upon some points while installing this aircraft. One of them is that you are actually, let's tell you this, guys, you have to read the manual. I mean, you will probably install this bird kind of selecting the aircraft on the prepare menu and we'll try to fly it. That's not gonna happen. So first thing first is to actually load the flight with either the Piper Cub or any other aircraft, shut the engines down, and then load the FSLabs A320. So it's a little bit kind of sophisticated aircraft, honestly. So standard on the IS-50 there, standard, and lights can come off. Okay, seatbelt signs, I'm gonna switch them to off. So we're accelerating nicely there. So as I said, it's a little bit different than your usual kind of aircraft. Documents is very well put. I mean, you'll not find a full document like the PMDG 737 included the whole kind of Boeing documents there, but it's very good. So you will not be kind of lost on how to fly this airplane. There is also a tutorial flight explained very well that you can follow, and it will teach you, I would not say as much as we have discovered in this flight, but it will get you there. So coming is our right turn in here. Very cloudy day. So as we have seen now, I just want to check whether we're still preferring that runway there. I'm gonna do another weather request there. So send 1418 UTC. Let's see the received messages there. So let me, yeah. So the weather is not really that bad. I mean, it's considered a little bit IFR. So it's overcast 4,000, or at 400. So before the runway, it's going to be a little bit overcast there. Some mist, and honestly, the wind is very calm. It's 230 at 3 knots, and we will be landing at 250. So very awesome indeed. Not really worried at all. So very lovely clouds texture, honestly. Wow. This is just amazing, gentlemen. So coming along is 16,000 feet. I'm gonna probably cut the video in here, but before I do, if we look into the kind of blue segment here, that will indicate our top of a climb, and there will be another arrow on the next waypoints there towards the top of descent. So it will be the kind of the other way around. So it will be the arrow, then it will take the top kind of shape. So I probably have to check why my route is acting up in here, but I'm gonna cut the video in here and meet you at the final and third series of this video, guys. So take care and stay tuned.